Hey y'all, welcome to this week's episode of Ducking Realitea. In the pond with me today is my friend Gage. I'm so excited for this. Hi. We've been talking about doing this forever.
Yes.
I might still be a little raspy and a little hoarse I had a really bad cold. I had no voice the other day. It wasn't great. But I'm so excited because I know some of your story and I love every conversation that we have. And I love your perspective on things. Like we just started talking about your morals of going to live shows.
Yep.
But, and I love that when someone sees you, they are intimidated by you. And then you are the nicest, kindest, smartest human being.
I love and hate that. Mm-hmm. But yep, that is generally the case.
Yeah, because I always am worried, I'm trying to get better about it, but I've always been worried about like what I look like. And like there's always been things like I'm not literally was told I wasn't allowed to wear or do. So now I'm still like figuring out like what I want my style to be. And we kind of were talking about this before we sat down. And I love someone that has a style and commits to it. And like you have committed.
Oh, yes, I have. I've committed very long and very hard. And part of it was out of spite.
Was it?
From my upbringing, being told that you definitely do not do this, or this. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I had my freedom, so to speak, I did exactly the opposite of what I was reared and learned.
So will you tell us some of your Gage origin story?
Hi, my name is Gage. I am 43 years of age. I'm an alcoholic. No, joking.
Alcoholics go to meetings. We don't do that. We're just drunks.
No, I grew up in the South, mostly in Texas, but a little bit in Louisiana. I was, in my early years, raised in a very one can say fundamental, one could say cult-like environment. And then I got out of that, and my other grandparents on my mom's side ended up taking me in, and I was reared on a 550-acre goat ranch. So I grew up literally as a cowboy, and that was good. Like, as we were saying earlier, I tried to do everything the opposite of what I was learned that was from the previous family.
Right.
Those grandparents were very open and let me experiment and kind of be myself, but still taught me my own sense of morality that I have today and sense of self-worth, work ethics, all that good stuff. They kind of helped mold me into an adult at a really early age.
How did you escape? Like, how did you know that you were... Did you know from a young age that you were like, this stuff's not right?
Oh, yeah. Pretty much since I could form actual conscious thought, it just always felt off and very contradictory. Like, I remember from here on out, we'll differentiate. So the good grandparents that raised me, I'll call them my grandparents or my granddaddy, my grandmother. The bad ones, we'll call them my grandpappy, my grandpa, or grandma. We'll make it a little bit different, so easier. But yeah, I remember my granddaddy constantly like making me memorize lines in the Bible, pages in the Bible, and then he'd write a test. And for every test, every answer I got right, I'd get $1. Every answer I got wrong, I'd get a whooping. And that was from a very early age. And just the idea of getting bribed and getting punished for studying the Bible felt wrong to me. It felt hypocritical.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make sense for what I was reading in the Bible. Also, I wasn't allowed to read any of the New Testament. That was not considered the Bible. That was against God's actual word. And that was added on by heathens to make Christianity more acceptable in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Now,
I forget sometimes they just like pick and different religions picks and choose what parts of what they want to.
Yep.
Yeah. That was like me in I think in 5th or 6th grade, like I sat down with a priest because I grew up Catholic and I was like, yo, I have some questions. And I was like, I'm not going to church anymore. And like, I'm out on all of this. And he was like, I'm like, unless you can you chose to live your life like this. So convince me I'm wrong.
Right.
And I remember just being very like, I don't think so, bro.
The good grandparents, they were both very, very, very proudly Roman Catholic, Irish and German. My grandmother's German, grandfather's Irish, and very, very devout Roman Catholics, but also very open to the world. Not at first, but through bringing me and raising me, their eyes got opened a lot more. I, my my grandmother and my grandma were constantly in battle when I was a little kid over baptizing me.
Oh.
So I was rebaptized on both sides multiple times, which didn't make any sense to me, and I just hated it all. Yeah, the Catholic priest that christened me quite a few times, he was pretty chill when I became a teenager. We talked a lot, like he was still part of the family, he's still alive, and we chatted a lot, and I always told him about I know I'm been brought up as Roman Catholic, but I don't really consider myself anything. I think I'm an atheist of anything else. And he never was shitty to me. He was like, okay, well, let's talk about that.
Right.
I'm not going to try to convince you you're not an atheist. I'm just going to answer any questions that you have. And yeah, he was always really chill. When I turned 21, he took me for my first legal pint.
Nice.
And we had some pints of Guinness at a place called the Blarney Stone in Fort Worth, Texas. Downtown Fort Worth, specifically, right across the street from the federal building. But yeah, I told him I'm 100% an atheist, and even more so, and nothing against him, but how do I leave the Catholic Church? He's like, oh, you just are a non-practicing Catholic. I'm like, no, it's the thing. I'm not a Catholic.
Right.
I don't want to be put into any of the statistics or polls, and it's nothing against you personally. It's just like, I don't want to be added to that roster when I'm not even a follower of that belief, or like theologically or otherwise. And he helped me actually write my letter to be stricken from the records. It's not excommunication. That's
something different.
A totally different thing, but it's pretty much willfully signing a contract with the church saying that you are no longer an actual member or follower of this church. And he's like, okay, I'll sign it off. We'll send it to the archdiocese. And then after that, you'll be taken out of the records from here henceforth. And you're no longer officially a Catholic. I can do all that. There's one thing I can't do, and I'm really sorry about it. I'm like, what's that? And he's like, I can't unchristen you. So whether you like it or not, you're going to heaven when you die. And I'm like, no. He's like, yeah, sorry, bud. You don't have any choice in that matter.
I never thought about removing myself from the church. Like, I removed myself physically, and for me, like, I never thought about the fact that, like, my name is still like on a record somewhere.
Yeah, not just as a name, but also as a number added to, like, every year when they do their statuses, so every time they do polls, every time they show, like, yes, we have this many members world round of our church.
Right.
You're added. This also helps with actually renewing the tax exemption clauses and whatnot.
Oh.
So I have a whole bunch of bones to pick with the whole tax exemption for religion.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah. The only church I've willfully been a member of is the Church of the Subgenius, if you've ever heard of it.
What is that?
It is a church that only has one commandment. It actually has 10, but the most important one is to slack. They started in the 1980s, late 1980s, specifically because of that tax exemption law as a loophole to be like, oh, we only need 40,000 members of what we call a religion to actually be considered by the IRS standards a religion. Okay. And they went kind of the flying spaghetti monster out.
Yep.
And yeah, the Church of the Subgenius are all hail Bob Dobbs.
Fucking A.
And it is literally a joke religion that took advantage of that and was recognized as an actual true religion in the eyes of the IRS.
I have a new goal.
Yep.
I'm doing a religion.
For $5, you can too become an actual minister of the Church of Subgenius, which you'll be able to perform bar mitzvahs, funerals, weddings, birthrights. If you need to exorcise demons, more than welcome to, but we have to charge you more for that.
I would hope so. I would absolutely hope I have to charge more for exercising a demon than just welcome you into the community.
Oh, no. The church has to charge you more for exercising the demon.
Yeah, but then I, in turn, have to charge more for exercising the demon.
Of course.
Then I would for
big.
I got to do a whole cleansing ritual afterwards. I feel like this is very much in my wheelhouse.
I'll happily share information with you.
I think I've been to 2 ceremonies by the Flying Spaghetti Monster priest, so I think I might be a member of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually signed up, but I definitely took the LSD.
Morally, you signed up. Yes, yes.
The first time I went to a Flying Spaghetti Monster ceremony, I was like, what is happening and how am I just finding out about this? Like, I swear, moving to California has opened my eyes to so many things where I'm like, wait, you guys knew all of this all the time? Like, I feel like on the East Coast, you get brought up and it's very much like, you're going to do this, you're going to be this, and that's it.
Yep.
And like, so when you break free from it, you're like, wait a second. You all knew that this all was happening over here? Like, you knew you didn't have to...
It isn't just happening over here. Even on the East Coast, there's those pockets of resistance.
Yeah.
Church of the Subgenius was started and founded in Texas.
Right.
Which is like the buckle of the Bible Belt.
Yeah. But I do wonder, like, how did I miss that, like, growing up? How did I miss, like, the off-ramp? Like, how did I...
I think you were shielded, so to speak.
I guess, maybe, but I didn't feel like it. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely... But I guess I really was. Which I'm grateful for, I mean, because a lot of fucked up shit happened anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and I had this similar thing with the priest that I really liked. Like, I went to him and I was like, I have a lot of questions. I'm like, you're telling me on this hand to be like nice to these people, but not if they don't fit in this bucket. I'm like, that just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't jive.
And I was like, so I got like, and you devoted your life to this. So I feel like you are the person I should be talking to. And the other day I was just talking to one of my friends and I was like, I want to find him. And she's like, he's not a priest anymore.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, that makes me want to find him even more and be like, yo, come, like,
right.
He was the first person that I was like really talked to as an adult that I was like, all right, this dude's not lying to me about shit. Yeah. And like, I felt like I could trust him. And like, we talked about a lot of stuff and like, he really opened my eyes to different things and being like, yeah, you can, like, he's like, but you can also think that and still be here and worship and do all this stuff. And I'm like, I feel like those two things don't add up either, bro.
Right.
Like, I feel like you just want my money and like to control me. Like,
yeah. I like the idea of priesthood in like Buddhism in Thailand, for instance. You have 3 phases of priesthood. You go in, usually you get put into their version of an abbey or abbot. It's called a wat as a child. So you're studying to become an actual monk. While you're doing that, you're also getting a completely paid free education, room and board's taken care of, and you do that. Once you hit your late teens, early 20s, you're allowed to leave.
Right.
So a lot of people do that, go experience the world outside of it, do their own thing, get girlfriends, get boyfriends, drink a bunch, smoke a bunch, do whatever. And then if they're ready to go to uni, they go back in. They go to uni, do uni for a while, get an education for free while still being a monk. They'll leave again after uni, start a family, buy property, set up a farm, actually have children. And then when they get up in the years and they start becoming very like geriatric and feeble-minded, invalid, I hate to use that term, but yeah, when it's like, I need care, I need hospice, right. They go back into the monk, the wat again. They become a monk again for the third and final time, right. And they live the entirety of the rest of their life as a monk before they pass on. So yeah, it's a really interesting facet. You're allowed to leave and then come back, and you're allowed to leave and come back. But the loophole is, I'm not necessarily joining for the religion. I'm joining for the free education of food, right. Which I find that really awesome because they're so flagrant about it. Like right. Just. They're not hiding the fact that there are these loopholes built in, but on the other hand, they're still very, very proud of the philosophy and some a large debate if it's theology or not when it comes to Buddhism, the spirituality of it, or is it just philosophical? Whatever. They're very proud and stand by the ideals that they have as actual Buddhists. Right. Most Thai Buddhists are. I forget the term. So there's like 2 main forms of Buddhism. You have Zen Buddhism, and then you have the other form. One is changing the world to change yourself, and that is the opposite of Zen Buddhism, which is changing yourself to change the world. Most Thai Buddhists are not Zen Buddhists, so they're more nihilistic, which I really, really like.
Who doesn't love a little nihilism in the morning?
Oh, yeah. I'm still proudly a nihilist now, but compared to 1998 when I was angsty 15-year-old, it isn't nothing really matters. Now it's nothing really matters. I'm in the clown nihilism phase now.
I think I've always probably been a little bit of a nihilist, and I just like want to be different, but I also like from a young age was like a little disillusioned and been like, oh yeah, nothing actually matters. Like, which did not help my slacking at all.
Fair.
Like I was just like, oh yeah, so you can like work really hard and be a good person and you could still be hit by a bus. Like, or you can be like a shitty ass person and you just live forever and
you win the lottery and
yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so nothing matters. Like it's all random. It's all just fucking luck of the whatever. Like that makes sense. Like so
Yep.
And but I also still have this, I don't know, drive to make myself better, to make the world better. I probably am a little bit of a Zen Buddhist.
I'm always driving to make myself better, whether it actually matters or not, because at the end of the day, and it will sound a bit selfish, but at the end of the day, the most important thing in my life is me, because I am the constant in my life. So either I can choose to try to improve myself, or I can just get shot in the Stampert, so to speak.
Right.
And I'd much rather try to improve myself. I'm trying. It doesn't mean I'm doing the best job at it, but I am still putting forth the effort and attempt and sometimes succeeding. And just the little baby steps give you that little, makes you dust your shoulders off a little bit, gives you a little bit more of an ego, not in a bad way, but like gives you a little bit more pride. It gives you a little bit more chutzpah, if you will. So, yeah, I'm always trying to improve myself, not through MLMs or spiritual grifters, but just through normal everyday activities and just trying to like, I eat too much fried chicken. You know what? I'm going to cut fried chicken out at least once a month and not eat it as much. Like just baby steps. Yeah. That's all you really can do. Is
that what you like? Did you learn that out on the farm? Like we're just out by the goats and in nature, and you're like, oh, like if I'm just a good person, it ripples out? Or where do you think it came from?
I think the kind of foundation of that came from living on the ranch, because where I grew up at that time, it was a large tract of land, so a huge tract of land.
Yeah, what'd you say, 500 acres?
550 acres.
I can't even wrap my brain around how big that is.
If you're going on our actual, from the state road onto our property and going in a straight line, you're going about 1.5 miles. Like straight before you hit the other end of our property line.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say living out there, growing up out there, was the kind of foundation of a lot of my morals that I have today. As back then, it was still a really tight-knit community. There wasn't a lot of development, so it was a lot of other ranches. Our ranch is a historic ranch, so our ranch taxes are a lot lower because we're a historic property. We have to follow a lot of rules and regulations, and certain things we have to do in a very specific way to keep that tax. But yeah, we're one of the oldest ranches in the area. And when I was a youngin', all of our neighbors were also goat ranchers, and everybody always goes through hard times. All ranchers do. Agriculture just fucking sucks. So everybody scratches everybody else's back. You're always looking out for your neighbors. You're checking on them. There's a lot of bartering, not in cash, but like Texas has these weird blue laws. We can have 3,000 goats on the property, but we'll not get that agricultural tax write-off unless we have a minimum of 7 cows. We're not a cattle ranch. We're a goat ranch. But
so why do you have to have cows?
It's a blue law. Cattle country, Texas, you'd have to have a minimum of 1 stud and 6 heifers. So 1 boy cow, 6 girl cows, and to be able to get that agricultural tax write-off. That takes care of our beef for the year. We'll stud out our bull to our heifers.
Right.
We get a little baby bull, a boy cow. We'll steer him if know what that means. If you don't know what that means, I'm not going to explain it. Google it. But yeah, he'll become our beef for that year. But then we also lend him out to our neighbors and stud him out and trade instead of like, hey, yeah, we have a good bull. We're going to let you use him for a breeding program. We'll do a trade. Don't give us cash. You have a hay field going on. I know you have extra rolls of hay. Drop them off with us.
Right.
You get to use the bull for however much you need. And so there's always kind of a barter that wasn't monetary in a denomination sense, but monetary is in like helping the community. So our bull was at any given time the community bicycle. We also had,
oh my god, I want to make that t-shirt.
We also have a lot of caverns on our property. So we had a rock quarry. Certain parts of the hill country area of Texas, there's a lot more rocks than there are other parts. Since we had a rock quarry, rock doesn't cost us any money. You help us fucking break it up, you can take it home with you. My great-grandfather used our rock quarry. He started it just to build a school in the county, Comal County, Texas, so they could get teachers so my grandmother could start learning English. That was his main primary thing, but it was also for a public school, so other kids could actually go to school. So the very first school in the county was built by my great-grandfather.
That's awesome.
Texas, which is crazy and weird. But yeah, my grandmother, I learned German from her. When I finally went to Germany, everybody looked at me really weird. I'm like, am I saying things wrong? They're like, no, you're saying things really old with a weird accent. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, the German she spoke was so bastardized by that point that it wasn't traditional German as we know it now. And also it was older format of German because a bunch of Germans and Czechs moved into Mexico in the 1800s and then kind of migrated into neutral territory, which was Tejas, which became Texas, and got to buy a property in South Texas because too many caverns, too much rocks, not good for actual cows.
Right.
But perfect for goats, and a lot of them were goat ranchers. So that's how that happened. And weird side, probably going a tangent here, but side note, a proper, what we know as like proper mariachi and tejano music these days is not Mexican born. It's German Mexican born. The immigration of the Germans in the 1800s, they brought what we know as the mariachi bass now and the accordion. If you line up oompa or polka to mariachi side by side, it is the exact same thing. Even when it comes to the ay, hi, hi, that's replacing with yodeling. Like, it is a combination of two cultures to make this new type of music, which is fucking awesome.
My mind is blown.
Yeah. Accordions didn't exist in Mexico before that. And I'm not saying it's all thanks to the Germans. It's a thanks to the German-Mexican culture collaboration to make this awesome music that we have now, which is really, really rad. But yeah.
That's incredible. That's a fun fact.
Yep.
I love shit like this. And I love people like you that know this shit. Like, I don't have... And I talked about this with Anna when we were doing Squirrel Girls, and she's doing her Traditions Cafe stuff, like, because she's very into the traditions. I'm like, I didn't grow up with a lot of tradition. Like, I didn't grow up with a lot of connection to where we came from. Like, it was there and, like, you knew it, but it wasn't something like we celebrated. It was like, now we're here now and we're moving forward. And I think there's a little bit of that in me where I'm like, yeah, I don't celebrate a lot of the past stuff, but I would like to. I'd like to be more connected to it. Because to know where you come from helps you know where you don't want to go back to. My
grandmother and grandfather were all about tradition, not only for them, but also, again, very, very devout Roman Catholics, but not egotistical enough to think that they're the only ones that are right.
Yeah.
So we practice Seder. We practice other religious holidays outside of Catholicism because they were friends with other people of different religions. We practice Ramadan from time to time, like depending on the year, but they would invite friends of theirs that were of a different theological faith over and have them actually give a little talk about it, and then we would actually practice that faith traditions in honor of their friends and wanting to have a better understanding of brothers, so to speak. So again, my grandparents were extremely open, especially, and I hate to be ageist here, but for their age
Right.
and that time in life, yeah, is really fascinating. I think what changed it all for my grandparents was my grandfather. He was a pilot. He was an Air Force pilot, and then he became a commercial pilot when he finally retired from the Air Force. And commercial pilot also meant he was a private pilot from time to time.
Right.
He had the honor of being the Dalai Lama's pilot for about 6 months.
Holy shit.
And that completely changed his life. He didn't become a Buddhist or anything like that.
Right, but still.
But he was very stuck in his theological ways at the time. And he's like, well, it's a paycheck. I'll take it. And just getting to experience everything that went on with that kind of changed his outlook. And he became more open to, well, maybe I'm not just the only person that's right. Or maybe my theological ideals are not the only correct ones. There's not a specific correct one.
Right.
Depends on culture. And I don't know if this is true or not. He told me it as a kid, and he did like to embellish from time to time, as all granddads do. But he told me that he got to speak to the Dalai Lama once. And the Dalai Lama asked him what his religion was. And he said, I'm a very proud Roman Catholic. And he's like, oh, that's beautiful. I love their ceremonies. And they talked a little bit. And he's like, what do you think about Buddhism? He's like, I've never bothered to read about it because it's not part of my faith. And he's like, oh, okay, I can respect that. But you believe in God. I believe in God. Who's to say that the God that we both believe in is not the same God? Mm-hmm. God is like a gem, a finely cut, faceted gem. It's the same gem, but it has different faces, and those faces have different reflections depending on angle and light. But you're still looking at the same gem, just from a different angle.
Right.
What's not to say that that is God? And that just, at least this is the story my granddad told me, explaining all that. And he's like, that just changed his mind, like brain imploding and what the fuck, and just forever, for the rest of his life, he tried to keep that idea in mind and became way more open and less, no, I'm right and you're wrong.
Right.
And while still being a libertarian in Texas, like 80s libertarian, not this I'm masturbating to fucking Atlas Shrugged libertarian bullshit. Yeah, and thanks to that, I had the really cool upbringing that I had with my grandfather and grandmother. So, grandmother, she's just obsessed with Willie Nelson 24/7. Hated weed, very anti-weed, but loved Willie.
I love that your grandparents are so juxtapositioned. Like, I'm very Roman Catholic, but I'm
Texas,
open to hearing
Texas. That is 100% what Texas is.
Is it? See, I don't have a lot of experience in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I've driven through, and that's about it. I've driven through Texas 2 or 3 times, and that's my...
Texas is all about, don't tell me how to live. I do what I want. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you how to live, and you do what I want.
And I find it feels like it tracks. I feel like that's now how we've gotten to in the world.
Yeah.
Where we just need to like pump our brakes, and now I'll like take that.
Oh, you're saying if I punch myself in my head, multiple times, I'll give myself a concussion? Well, I don't believe you, and it's my right to punch myself in the head, so I'm just going to punch myself in the head more now, because I can do that.
Yeah. I identify with that so hard.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to want to do it, even if it's not something I want to do.
I'm going to do it unless it actually causes way more difficulty in my life. When I was younger, I would absolutely fucking do it. Now, I'll give it some forethought. And if I'm doing it just to prove a point, to piss someone else off, and it isn't actually going to affect my life that much, I'm totally going to do it. But if it's actually going to add more inconvenience to my life now, no, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to figure out some way else to defy you, because I hate authority, and I've always been really bad with authority. So,
is that what led you to all the tattoos?
So I'd always wanted to get tattooed. again, the other side, granddaddy and grandma side of the family was very, very, very anti-tattooing. So as soon as I left, I wanted to get tattoos. But my very first tattoos, I ended up giving myself, and it was due to my grandfather, the good one.
Yeah.
We had a goal, and I was on board. I was going to become an astronaut, 100%, like dead serious. That was our aim.
And you are super fucking smart.
I don't know about that.
I do.
We had a game plan. Again, he had spent majority of his life in the Air Force, and it would have been Nepo, but he knew the way I could go about speed running myself into it. And I got accepted to the Air Force Academy when I was 16.
Oh, shit.
Obviously, I couldn't join yet because I was still too young. But yeah, I tested into it and got accepted.
See, we're smart.
And no, I was well rehearsed. I don't know.
Where is my bullshit flag? You also are super smart. You do the work, but you are super smart.
I realized that I did not actually want to be an astronaut anymore. I didn't want to be anything affiliated with military. And I had no spine to tell my grandfather that because I knew it would crush him. I knew for a fact, or at least I thought for a fact, that that would just be the end of his world because he was so excited about like doing this. And it wasn't just for me, it was for him, but he really wanted me to make something of myself and was super excited about this. For years we worked on it, and I had no spine to be able to actually just have the conversation with him. So I tattooed my throat. And myself in a mirror with a needle with thread wrapped around the tip and some Indian ink, and just went to town and did this weird little design on my throat, and then went home to visit my grandparents, and my grandfather saw it, and he's like, "Oh, well, guess you're not going to the academy." I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. And he's like, "We'll figure something else out."
How old were you then?
I was 16.
All right. So you tested it and then we're like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing gift to know at that age.
Yeah.
I would have kept going down that road.
I realized that, wait, I have an issue with authority. This would not work out the way we think it would have worked out. And I realized that, and realized that I wanted to travel, but on my own terms. I didn't want to travel because I was being sent there. I did not want to wake up early in the morning because I had to. I want to wake up, because a higher authority is telling me I have to. I'm doing it because I have to make money, or I'm doing it because I have to take care of property, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, yeah, because it's your choice to.
Yeah.
Not because some person is arbitrarily. Yeah, that way.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yep, telling you that you have to.
Yeah, so, and he was not upset. He was disappointed, but not with me. He was disappointed with the situation, and he is more disappointed in himself for the fact that he felt that he drove me to a point where I had to tattoo myself to get to that.
Instead of having...
And I'm like, no, that was a decision by me. And this is something I kind of wanted anyway. I always wanted tattoos.
Right.
And yeah, so...
But that still speaks to a lot of who he was, that he was like, I've been now pushing this kid into something that maybe isn't what he wanted.
He thought... He thought
he was being supportive, but...
That's the thing, I didn't even realize I didn't want it until I realized I didn't want it.
Right.
And that... Getting into it was not him forcing me into it. He never, and I still to this day will say, he never once made it like an ultimatum, didn't try to gaslight me into it, didn't try to manipulate me into it. He was always very forward about it. Like, hey, if we're going to do this, it does have to be 100%, or we should look at other alternatives.
Right.
And it wasn't an ultimatum at that point. It was like, this is how hard it is to do this. And he tried to prepare me for that. And no, he did great. After that, yeah, he always supported me, and I had so many different career paths I've gone down. And he was so elated to find, what's the new job you're doing? He was so like, wow, I never saw you doing that. That's really cool. Yeah, he was always so just supportive of whatever I did, and he never looked at me or talked at me like I was a fool. He always treated me as an equal. I was still his grandson, but whatever decision I made in life, that was my decision, and he always respected that. Sometimes he's like, hey, it is your decision, you can do it, but I am a little concerned about it.
Yeah.
Just would you break it down for me? And I would, but yeah, he would never be like, why the fuck are you doing? Even sometimes when he should.
Yeah.
As he wanted to always be supportive.
That's an incredible gift to get in life. Yeah. That's amazing to have. It also like explains why you are the way you are.
I guess.
Yeah. Like, no, yeah. I mean, because you have like this very, your energy is super like calming, and just, you give that gift to other people. And you, like, if you're friends with you, you do the same thing. You're like, that's a terrible idea, but I'm in.
Yeah.
And I have it too. Like, that's one of the
I'll grab the shovel.
Yeah. Like,
let's do it.
Like, I'll be like, oh, I mean, you're an adult, so this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
All
I'm not
right.
going to yuck your yum.
Yeah.
I am going to give you just some forethought. If we do this, this could happen.
Yeah.
But
it's probably one of the reasons why I like you so much and that we get along so well, is because we have that in common. Like, I didn't have that a lot growing up. I was always told I'm supposed to do this, this, and this. And if I don't do these things, then I won't get. Like, it was very much, and my family is amazing, but it felt very conditional growing up. Where, like, if I was not doing these things, then I was not worthy of their time and affection. And if they did not agree
transactional.
If they did not agree with what I was doing, I would be ignored, or I would be like,
they were hoeing you out for emotions,
basically,
pretty much.
yeah. And like, that's what happens when you grow up with trauma and like all the stuff that we grew up with, but like, I never had that. So like, that's one of the things that I strive for now, is like, if I love you and care about you, like, I'll tell you when I think you're wrong. I'll do it in private.
Yeah.
Like, if we're in public and you have a terrible idea, I'll be like, this is terrible. I'm here and I'm your person, so I'm here for you. Mm-hmm. But like, when we get home, and we're like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
But like, it wasn't something I grew up with. So like, it was something I developed later, where I'm like, all right, like, I love you. So that's your decision, and I'm going to check you. But if that's what you want to do, like, I'm all the way down the road with you.
Right.
And like, if you fuck it up, I'm not going to tell you I was right, but I will be like, all right, now how do we get out of this? Like, let's do that.
My granddaddy, so bad granddad.
Yeah.
The last words he ever spoke to me, and this is when I was 16. Yeah, 16. I had my throat tattoos, and shortly after that, I had done my eyebrow tattoos. Mm. And I was still, even though I had left that side of the family, I was still in cahoots with my dad. I still talked to my dad, and I talked to a few cousins and a few other family members. But when it was my granddaddy's birthday, and my dad was really insistent I come to it, and I did not want to go. But he was super insistent, and I get there, and it's the first time I've seen my granddaddy since I was 11. And yeah, he flipped his fucking lid. He just lost his shit just on my appearance. And I wasn't dressed crazily, it's just the tattoos and a few of the piercings. And yeah, he lost his fucking shit. And he told me I had to get out of his house right now. I am not welcome, especially since I left the church. I am a heathen. I am going to hell no matter what I did. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is the last time we're talking. He's like, okay, well, then let me make it a point. You're going to die on the street selling your ass as a faggot, and you're going to die doing lots of drugs. You're going to become a gay faggot whore, and that's what's going to happen to you in your life. I hope you get the AIDS. I hope you die from it.
Oh, my God. That is terrible.
That was the last words we ever spoke, and so shortly after that, I made it a point to do almost every single one of those things just to spite him. I didn't get the AIDS. Sorry.
So you failed at the big one.
Failed at that one, but yeah. And I didn't die. So sorry on that part.
And you're not living on the street, and you're not dead.
No, I was living on the streets for quite some time after that. yeah, but yeah, I kind of made it kind of a little check bucket list to do every single thing that he
You're like, let's try
said I was
all the
going to
drugs.
do,
Let's
just as spite. And yeah, I got good with my acronyms. I got really good with my acronyms. But yeah, and I still turned out okay. Not dead, not homeless or houseless, and pretty sane, I think.
I think so. You've got
Yeah,
a good job.
yeah, a pretty decent job. It's challenging and still imposter syndrome up the wazoo, but
After all these years, you still have it.
oh, I constantly have imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome when I go to a show and hang out with friends. Like, I'm like, why am I here? I don't, what? People think I'm this. No, it's wrong.
Yeah, I've had it a lot lately now, especially stepping into this more. And like, we just had our first live show, and like, that's the first time I've ever been on stage.
By the way, the live show was great.
Thank you.
Everybody loved it. And that's not me blowing smoke. Like, I was there for it. And yeah, everybody was just oohed and enamored.
It was great. I haven't listened to it yet. I have to do that tomorrow.
And the makeup was on point.
Thank you. Trey definitely helped with my lashes. It's the first time it feels like a fever dream. Like I've still been trying to wrap my brain around it. And then I like came home and was like sick this week. And I was like, I think my body was just like,
It just goes into panic shutdown mode after that much adrenaline pumping in.
yeah, like I got up on stage at one point and I had like this whole little speech I had written and like went over a bunch of times that I wanted to be like, really like, it's the first big thing I've done. Like thrown a whole event and like asked people to show up for things. And I was super nervous. I was one, afraid no one was going to show up. And then two, I was afraid I would not be able to talk because I've never been on stage before in a meaningful way. And then I remember starting to give my speech and then I remember being like, I couldn't see anything. And I was like, I'm going to fall over. I'm so nervous. So once Holly and Danielle came out and sat down, then I was like, all right, now I'm all right. Like I'm my homies and I'm like, we're good. Like this is the shit that we do. But I still don't remember almost any of it.
To be frank, stage, I am totally fine with.
Yeah.
That's it's a stage. There's a boundary. There's a barrier. There's a divide between people and me and the mask. The mask helps. This right here is way more challenging.
Really?
Absolutely. Because I'm not having to, this isn't a performance.
Right.
I'm having to actually just talk about myself and that always feels really icky and wrong and weird and egotistical and just all the emotions and smiley emojis.
For me, like this feels like no one's listening, right? Like I really forget that other people are going to listen to it. I still forget. Sometimes people will come up and start talking to me about something and I'm like, how the fuck do they know that? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have a podcast. But like behind the bar, like I'm good when I have 3 feet of wood. I make that joke all the time. Like
the bar is a stage, and just think the stage as a bigger version of being behind the bar, and it's the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah,
you're doing a show, you're dancing for the dollars.
Yeah, except here I feel much more comfortable with just like sitting and not having makeup on.
Well, also the teddy looks great on you, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I do my shows in lingerie.
Those are cha-cha heels that are only meant to be worn when you're sitting on a couch.
Those were the heels I had on that night. I had my big, and it was funny. Our new friend, but Holly's good friend Nick, him and his girl were sitting, and they were sitting in like the front row of the live show, and I had worn a skirt, and he was like, we had hung out after the show. We were up in Guerneville together, and he was like, "Can I ask you one question?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "At what point did you realize like, oh shit, I have a skirt on and my crotch is eye level with most people?" He's like, "Because I feel like I saw you have that moment." And I was like, oh yeah. At one point I was like, am I basic instincting this? Like,
yes.
What's my viral moment? And like, I was very much aware of it. And I was like, but I did not realize that dress did not hide my tire. Like, I was like, I saw some pictures and I was like, oh, not as flattering as I thought it was going to be. But it's all right.
I thought you looked delicious.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. The show was great.
It was so much fun, and a bunch of people have asked us if we're going to do it again. I think we will. I think we'll probably do it once a quarter.
Yeah.
Like, not too much, but we definitely had fun with it. I don't know if we would do guests. I think that we would probably just do it, the three of us shooting the shit and maybe doing audience stuff.
Right. Unless you had someone like Elvira want to actually be a guest. Then,
Oh, fuck. She's like one of my superheroes.
Right? Like, the potential for guests are low, but they're not zero.
Well, one of the things I said to Holly and Danielle when we first started doing this, because I like doing this too. I like my one-on-one interviews.
Right.
But I was like, if we ever decide to do live shows, like, then you guys could come on tour with me. Like, we could do a Touch of the Tism, and then I could do a Ducking Reality. So, like, or I could do this, and then the two of them can join me and my guest, and, like, we'll do a Tism where we just kind of get off the rails.
Right.
And, like, we have so much kind of, and to be able to do something like this with friends is, like, that's my whole goal. Like, I want to be able to put good out in the world and help people decide and, like, do the scary thing and change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, change your life. Don't sit and being miserable. Like, and that's one of the things I probably...
Or sit and be miserable, but figure out a way to monetize that.
Right, yeah. Yeah, like, I don't want to...
So plug me.
Plug him.
So if I'm allowed to do a plug.
Yeah. I was going to say, we just took a little break for bathroom cigs and had to fix a technical issue.
He just sent me this. My father thrifts a lot. I say my father, but not biological, but pretty much my surrogate dad. The one that after I left my grandparents did a lot of the raising of me and kind of molding me into the more nerdy side that I am today.
Oh, all right.
You know?
So I was just thinking about where to jump back in because we went on a couple of tangents. But I was thinking, you are home. You're like about 16, and you're just...
I wasn't home already.
Well, you were... Oh, sorry. You were on the ranch.
Wasn't on the ranch.
At 16, you were... Oh, so when you tattooed, you were already off the ranch.
Yes. So my grandparents' mental health started declining when I was about 13.
Okay.
And by the time I was 15, I had to put them into homes.
Oh, fuck. That's a huge thing for a 15-year-old to have to...
Yep. And I lived on the ranch for a few months, and then CPS came out. And yeah, I got put into a kid shelter, got taken out of that, and then my biological father took me in, and that was not good. Not necessarily from him at the time. I mean, he was shitty, but his choice in partners was not the best. But they had really good insurance, so I didn't actually spend much time at home. I spent probably... this is a weird segue, but I would be put into probationary observations into psychiatric facilities, and then drug rehab, psychiatric facility, drug rehab. At that point in time, I'd never done drugs.
So why were you being put into rehabs?
Because she would claim that I was stealing her medication, her prescription medication. She didn't want me in the house at all, and she had really good insurance, so they put me into a rehab for 6 weeks. They'd release me, and 2 weeks later, I get put into the psych ward, release me.
Wow.
Same thing, and that went on for about 6 months.
Holy shit.
After that, my dad put me back into the original kids shelter that he picked me up from, the YMCA Casa in Dallas, and gave me the chat. Son, you're my flesh and my blood, and I love you, but I'm married to her. I'm going to be with her for the rest of her life. You're going to grow up. You're going to become an adult. You're going to end up living on your own. So this is probably the best choice for everyone. And so, yeah, was in the shelter again for about a month, and after that, I ran away.
Yeah.
Sorry, way hardcore
That
turn segue. But
no, but I mean, that's your life. That was a hard turn, like, segue.
Yep. Shortly after that, I believe it was December of... No. It was May of 1999 that I met who I call and refer to as my actual dad to this day. A gentleman named Joshua. He lives in Arlington. He fought tooth and nail to try to get guardianship over me so I could go back to school, which we tried that. Just didn't take. Mm-hmm. By the way, I'm a 9th grade dropout. Yeah, just I had gone to so many high schools over a period of time, and none of them really. I was already having to take care of myself, and just did not work out with the schooling. I was extremely ADD, ADHD.
Well, it's like you have all the fucking life stressors happening. Of course, you were ADHD. Like, you can't sit in class for 6 hours or whatever amount of days when you have all that shit going on. Like,
I had been diagnosed that from way younger in the years. For a temporary period of time, my dad had a guardianship over me when I was about 9. And yeah, I got diagnosed that. And instead of, I got prescribed Ritalin, never got to take it. My dad's like, I can fix him. So I'd have to do the sitting on my hands every day after school for an hour and stare at a fish tank. No fidgeting, no moving around, no whistling, like just stay perfectly still and stare at the fish for an hour to help my concentration. If I didn't, then I'd get a whooping. And he'd still get the medication and then just sell it. So I never actually got meds for any of it, and I just kind of got forced into a way to deal with it that was not... It worked, kind of, for... many years, and then it stopped working.
Because that's not treatment.
Yeah, it's not. But yeah, so out of all that, yeah, Joshua, it became my father figure. They were very there for me. They treated me as an adult, even though they knew I was still technically a kid, But I had this weird, although I'm this age, I've already experienced life in this manner. So they tried to bridge that gap and just be a very awesome, supportive person in my life.
How did you meet them?
I met them at a goth club that I was well underage and should not have been in, but had been in for quite some time. And yeah, so they realized early on that I was way younger than I was trying to pretend to be, but could not figure out how I was able to get into this club every fucking Sunday. And I'm like, oh, well, first I used to just hop the smoking fence for the porch of the giant building and then sneak in. And then I got to know the actual security staff, and I started giving them fucking hookups for weed and other shit that I could get my hands on. And so we became very familiar. So then I could just walk through the front door, no problem. Then I started doing a little bit of side DJing and DJing there from time to time. And I never wanted to be paid. It was totally like, no, I'm just doing this as a volunteer thing. Just to really
Don't ask me too many questions.
Submit myself and like, yeah, you don't need CID. I'm just Gage. Gage is here.
Yeah. You don't need my papers. Don't pay me.
These are not the droids you're looking for type situation. Yeah, but yeah, he saw through the ruse. I mean, I looked so fucking young back then. And we ended up meeting, and they were a really amazing influence in my life. I lived with them for about 2 years. In their phone, they still have my name as Little Shit.
And may that never change.
It will never change, even today. Like sometimes they'll try to do the voice to text thing, and their phone will freak out and just start recording audio instead of just regular voice to text.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'll get this audio recording of text Little Shit. No, I said text. God damn it. But yeah, my who I consider my dad is the living embodiment of a 1960s mad scientist, even though they're only 3 years older than me. But their stylistic viewpoint on furniture, clothing, we're looking at like 1950s and late 1980s. Like pretty much anything past Susie Sue, no.
Okay.
It isn't that they're against it. It's just like the stylistic choices that's where their specialty is. But yeah, at that age, I was starting to go down way more of the kind of crust punk drug hole side of things, and they kind of pulled me out of that, and they're like, hey, have you ever seen Doctor Who? Do you know what Star Trek is? Hey, I'm making this thing, and you're really smart. Let me teach you how I'm figuring out to make it, so then I can pick your brain to see what I'm doing wrong, or vice versa. Like, they
Yeah, soundboard for me.
I won't go into details of what I do right now, currently, for a living, but I will say that I am an engineer.
Right.
I have no academic background behind it, but I am higher end engineer, and that is 100% due to them. They got me into maker type scenarios. They got me working with my hands, figuring out things. They texted me just now, they thrift every day. They look for flea markets. They look for garage sales. They look for old medical equipment, old tubes, vacuum tubes, old CRT TVs. And yeah, they were doing that when I was a kid and got me into it. And I became fascinated with electronics. I became fascinated with more, hey, that actually is sitting on the street is not really broken. We can fix that and use it, and then we don't have to spend money on buying it. Let's just fix it. So not hoarder though. 100% not hoarder. Although it feels like hoarder, it really is not. Like,
no, it's an organized chaos.
Actually, no, it's all organized.
That's what I mean. It's an organized.
It's not even chaotic. It is 100% organized. It's just a lot of organized. But yeah, like even before 3D printing happened, they got me into like, hey, let's see if we can build a CNC on our own. We lost touch for about 10 years. No, longer than that, almost 12 years. I moved overseas for a while and just lost touch. When we reconnected, we're both doing 3D printing. We're both doing resin printing. We're both doing almost the identical same thing for funsies. They are just an amazing builder and engineer, and they're working on their own, building out their own makerspace right now. They're also a photographer. They do a wet plate photography, collodium silver,
Oh, wow.
like the tin type style. That is like when I was a
That's
kid.
sexy to me.
I've shown you when I was 17 modeling photos.
You have, yes.
That was collodium silver. They took those photos for an old goth zine called Blue Bloods.
All right. I'm definitely looking that up.
But yeah, Joshua is amazing. If I'm allowed to plug, I will happily plug
You can plug away.
their Instagram, because they have decided recently that they're going to go full-time onto doing what they do part-time at home.
Right.
They are now available to do it full-time. So let's see. It is at we're going to redo that one.
Yeah.
As I don't know how to say it, but WETREVERIE is their Instagram.
All right.
You could take a look at it and see if it makes more sense to you.
Yeah, I can't spell things out in my head. We Trevere?
I think it is WETREVERIE.
We Trevere.
Yes.
TFW photography blending digital film in 19th century alt process. Mind the cats though. I like it.
I am a cat dad.
You are
I
a
get
cat
that
dad.
from my dad. He is a black cat dad posse.
Oh.
He has 3 cats. One's name is Laguna. Another one's name is Saber. And the other one's name is Etri. Laguna, well, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek.
Okay.
Saber, well, they
Lightsaber.
are a space pirate. And Captain Harlock, if anybody gets that.
I don't get that.
And Etri, I don't know where their name comes from. But yeah, 3 black cats, all lovely. But yeah, my dad has always been super supportive. He got me into majority of my music that I am into now, or helped build the foundation of that, engineering side, and then nerdcore, anime. Like, they got me into anime. I didn't give a shit about anime. I liked Saturday morning cartoons, but
Right.
like actual anime, had no interest in it until I met them, and now I am the weebest of weebs. So
I've been dipping my toe into anime a little more because I've been like just coming across. I don't watch a lot of anything anymore. I work too much, but huge like Saturday morning cartoon fan, huge like Rick and Morty fan, South Park, love it.
Yep.
Solar Opposites, give it to me. I haven't watched a ton of King of the Hill, but I have heard I would love that. Bob's Burger and I have a weird relationship.
So, as I said, my dad, Arlington. The last high school I ever went to was Sam Houston High School in Arlington. I lived in Arlington for quite some time.
Right.
King of the Hill,
Yeah.
it's Arlen, Texas. It's Arlington, Texas.
Ah.
Mike Judge is from that area of Texas, and almost everything that has to do with King of the Hill is based off of Arlington, Texas. So that culture is what I kind of
Grew up
in once I left the family ranch.
Mm.
Yeah.
I can't picture you in that kind of environment.
It's a weird one. If we do a part 2, I will make it a point to bring some actual physical photo evidence with me.
I will definitely do a part 2. I'll do a whole series with you, Gage. Because there's so much. I mean, I know. Yeah, there's so much. Because, like, you have a very distinctive look. And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and I think we've had this conversation before, is when you did the scarring for your face, like, what motivated that? And how bad did that hurt?
So, to preface that, I have 3 lines on either side of my cheek and on my nose that are indented as scarification. I also have multiple lines going down my chin through my neck that I got before I got the scarification.
Right. And those are tattoos.
The tattoos that I have, the multiple lines going down my chin, are kind of a ode to my heritage. Part Blackfoot Sioux. I theologically or spiritually do not follow or practice, but I do respect a lot of that culture. And more importantly, I hated the fact that my dad's side of family, granddaddy, grandma refused to let me know what my lineage is. Like, that's it sounds bad saying that's the black sheep, but that's the black sheep. They're extremely racist, so I didn't know much about my actual, like, where I came from on that side. When people ask me what I am, I just say I'm mixed. If they want to go into detail, I'm like, well, I'm part white and I'm part native. And they're like, okay, what part native? I'm like, well, Blackfoot Sioux, but I don't follow or practice it. I am not Blackfoot Sioux. I'm part Blackfoot Sioux.
Right.
Like, there's two totally different distinct. I did not grow up on a res, nor do I actually go to powwows. I mean, I do go to the occasional one with mates I've become really, really tight with, but it's not my culture.
Right.
It was not what I was brought up in. But I still have a lot of appreciation towards it. And even the tattoos that I have representing that are not actually proper tattoos representing it. They're just tattoos for me representing it. In traditional Blackfoot Sioux, men don't actually get their chins tattooed at all.
Okay.
But I've always been a little fucking queer. Legitimately, like, yeah, I'm a queerdo hardcore. So yeah, I want to go effeminate, but I did not want it to be effeminate. I wanted it to be masculine, but for the effeminate sign. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we went for large, jagged lines. A year later, I'm like, you know what? I think scarification would complement this. And I am a hardcore anime fan, like I said, and I love Naruto. And, well, Naruto, the main character in Naruto, has these lines on their cheeks that I always thought was cool. Scarification on the face can be questionable, mainly because it can take away from other cultures that it actually did it before. So I did a bit of research and was not able to find anybody that had that design. In a cultural heritage type of way done via scarification. But the anime did, so I was like, you know what? I think it's safe to say I can do that, and I think it'll complement what I have tattooed on me thus far. And yeah, so I got it done. A wonderful person that has actually left this plane of existence named Jamie, they started a website called bme.org. Body Modification Ezine is what it stands for.
Okay.
But it was, at the time, for people that are into heavy body modification, where they go to do research, learn about procedures, like how they're done. Also to see other people's cool, weird, experimental body modification, suspension, branding, scarification, piercings, implants, all of it. It was like the forum and subculture of body manipulation and modification. The founder of that, Jamie, was an amazing person. They've passed away now, but they actually did like a special on like my combination of scarification and tattoo. And they wrote really kindly about it. They said the only thing that they're sad they don't see, which I've actually been considering, and finally I'm going to pull the trigger and do it. I'm just waiting for the right artist to be available in the U.S. because a lot of the artists I like to go to don't live here. They do not live here, and it's very rare they'll travel to the U.S., especially now with our current climate.
What do you mean? The weather is beautiful.
Most likely I'm going to fly outside of the U.S. to have it done, but my implants, having silicone implants done on my the either side of my widow's peak. So the balls kind of looks like horns. I want to get those. So then I'll have the trifecta of implant, scarification, tattoo that will play very, very well with each other, in my opinion. I promise I'm not obsessed with how I look, but I do have a lot of, what is the word? I don't like my appearance at times.
Body dysmorphia?
I have a lot of body dysmorphia, and tattoos and piercings, body modification in general, has helped ease that. It doesn't fix it at all, but it just helps curve the edge on that. And
I can see that.
We're going to call them horns, but the silicone implants I'm looking to have done.
Thank you for calling them horns. I was just going to call them horns.
I have wanted them since I was in my early 20s. I am now in my 40s. I have given a lot of thought and consideration to it, and I think, you know what? It's time. Fuck it. It's not really going to change my demeanor anymore.
Right.
Or how people physically look at me. It really doesn't change it by that much. So
you really don't think having horns is going to change it that much?
People are obsessed with the fact that I have my face tattooed.
Like, that's what I mean. Like,
the horns aren't going to
add to it. It's just going to be.
Not really. They're already going to be like, I'm going to get the same amount of attention, the same silly questions.
Yeah. You know that. Okay, that I can see that you get the same amount.
It's not going to change that.
Right.
It's not. Going
You're already past the point of someone not noticing things.
Exactly. A mutual friend of ours, Melissa, They love to recant a story I told them when we first met, and they're like about the scars that I have in my face, and they're like, what do you do when you're at a bar and people are like, what happened to your face? I'm like, I get this a lot.
Right, I'm sure.
And if I'm feeling spicy, I'll do one thing. If I'm feeling actually nice and educational, I'll do another. If I'm feeling like I just want to fuck with something, I have another response. And they're like, well, what are those? I'm like, all right, well, the one that is the most fun and out there is I lie through my teeth. They're like, oh my God, what happened to your face? I'm like, oh, it's really tough to talk about, but you look like you're really understanding. All right. So I grew up actually in South Africa. I know I don't sound it. I am from America. My parents, they're biologists. We spent a lot of time in South Africa, and on my 9th birthday, they actually had a McDonald's hamburger shipped to us, as I'd been wanting it. That's all I wanted for my birthday. So I'm in the savannah, I'm under a tree eating my actual Big Mac, and a tiger came up and swiped my face to take it away. And they're like, oh my God, that is so insane. Believing every word. The thing is, those that type A person will believe that, because that makes more logical sense than me choosing to have scars placed on my face. Afterwards, I'll let them go on, and they're like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Oh, wow. And it's so perfect. That is just insane. And then I'll tell them, like, I'm just fucking with you. No, this is not true. None of that was true. I've never even been to savannas in South Africa. My parents are definitely not biologists. And biology, what does that have to do with tigers? I don't know. But yeah.
Why would I have a hamburger shipped to me?
Why are they there then? I'm like, would you believe me if I told you I had someone put them there? And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Dad was drunk on 4th of July, accidentally tripped me. I landed on a grill. They're like, oh, that makes way more sense. I'm like, I am also lying again. These are purposely done. I paid money to have a person take a scalpel to my face.
Is that how I was going to ask how they did it.
So very carefully, for one. But yeah, what we did was we spent about 4 hours drawing with different highlighters on my face, getting the angles, changing it up, looking how it curves around my cheeks. We spent about 4 hours just in front of a mirror, like changing it up, getting it just right. And when we're happy with what the design was, they conked me over the head, and then I woke up. No, They
And then the tiger came by.
yeah, then the tiger came by. No, after we were happy with what the design would look like, I lay it in a chair. It's very dark. They have a headlamp on so they can hyper focus just on the spot they're working on. And they do just a light cut around each spot, kind of an outline, not deep, just light enough for me to bleed. And then we use there's a name brand called Blue Gel, but it's pretty much a very strong topical lidocaine. We rub that all over the areas we just incised and then put plaster wrap on, and we wait 45 minutes. This is not actually to numb me, although lidocaine does numb. Injectable lidocaine is actually what does the proper numbing, and they can't legally do that. The purpose of topical lidocaine is to constrict the capillaries because it's a constrictor, so it'll make you bleed less. So yeah, they incise, we wait 45 minutes, and then after that, they go to town. They cut at a slight angle, and literally it is a tissue removal. Hemostats, and
Wow.
we did the nose first because that was going to be not only the most painful part, but also the most difficult for the practitioner. That was rough. It was about 45 minutes to do my nose. And then after that, the cheeks, I had tattoos that were worse than that. It's also, I had so much endorphins and adrenaline fucking pumping through my system. But yeah, after that, I had, yeah. They asked me if I wanted to keep it, and I said yes. I ate one little piece of me because I've never been a cannibalist, but auto-cannibalism does exist. Why not just give it a try for a moment? Also, is that candidate can raise and be a raised scar? I did not want that on my face. So I wasn't even allowed to use soap. It was 4 times a day, as scalding hot water as I could handle, spraying into my face. Like every day for the first 3 weeks until it scabbed up properly, and then the scabs fell off. The itchiness finally went away. When it was itching, I'd just have to slap myself because I'm not allowed to scratch, even though you really want to scratch. Have to slap. But after the scabs finally kind of went away, it was just bright red scars on my face for about 6 months. And then after that, they lost color. Scars generally do not have melanin in them.
Right.
So it just looked like white tattoos. And even now, especially in the summertime when I tan even darker, a lot of people think I just have very, very heavy white tattoos on my face until they get close and they can see the angle and see, wait, that's indented. What the hell?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the story of the scars. Me being the dumbass that I am, I actually wanted to get a whole bunch of shit done at the same time. So that scarification session was not only dedicated to scarification.
What else?
I got my tongue bifurcated and I had my lip cut, as people call it, the piercing, the labret or labre.
Yeah.
I did not have that piercing, but we did a crescent cut with a scalpel, then popped a plug through. So currently I am wearing is roughly about 3/4 of an inch wide oval in my lip. And
you just took that out and put it in so easily.
Yeah. And then tongue bifurcation means I split my tongue. I have a lizard tongue. I can control it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to get that all done in one session because I'm going to be miserable no matter what. So I might as well just have it all done and be miserable no matter what. All about it. But the kicker was I was a dumbass, because I'm always a dumbass. This happened in London, England. After everything was done, I went to Stansted Airport, flew on a 45-minute flight to Oslo. My lymph nodes were not too excited about that and swelled up to about the size of fucking golf balls. And so I could not even swallow. I had to massage water down my throat for about 2 weeks during all this healing process. I was not allowed to eat solid food because of the tongue. I had sutures in my tongue.
What made you jump on a plane? Like, what was
there was a convention going on that I was going to be part of.
What kind of convention?
A suspension convention.
Okay.
Piercing people to hang them from.
Wait, do you get suspended or do you suspend?
For that convention, I was healing way too much from other shit. There was no way I was going to suspend. But I did help suspend people, but also suspension conventions aren't just about the physical, like we're going to hang a bunch of people bullshit. It's also there's trigonometry classes, not
So
tying
nerd stuff.
techniques. It is a learning educational convention for practitioners. Like, hey, we have updated kind of our health and safety aspects of this. This is what we're doing now for PPE. This is what we're doing now for rigging. We found this company that is now making these type of harnesses that are a lot safer for if someone's hanging from their knees, for instance. They can wear this and we do a second line. So if something goes wrong, they're not going to land on the ground. That kind of thing. It is a educational convention, just like any other convention.
I have so many questions.
I have so many answers.
How does one get into being suspended? Like, so this is like a realm that I really want to explore because like I still have a bunch of fucking terrible Catholic guilt about any kind of sex stuff and like,
which you're perfect for suspending then.
but like I'm intrigued
joking.
by it. No, like I don't, and I have I went on a date with a dude and we were talking about, I was talking about all my pain stuff and because it was like a rainy night and I was super stiff and you see me every once in a while when I go to get up, I look like a 90-year-old woman until I can get moving
I thought
again.
it was because you have the weights on the arms and the ankles and you're doing that fucking Dragon Ball Z weight training.
I do that too. But like, so I have a weird, we were talking about pleasure and pain and he was
Right.
like, oh, if you deal with chronic pain, like your kinks are about to like kick off. And I was like, what? And he was like, because the line between pleasure and pain is so much. And he's like, you probably he's like, this is a perfect time for you to explore because you've been in because I live in chronic pain.
Right.
And he's like, when you start to like delve into this stuff, he's like, I'm really interested to see how you'll go. And I was like, that had never occurred to me. And so we were just talking about that, but I was like, I've been like trying to like learn more about different like kinks and fetishes in these worlds that are just so like, there's a little part of me that starts to giggle and I'm like, wait, is that real? People actually do it?
Well, I will be forward about this when it comes to suspension, like piercing the body to hang from said temporary piercing.
I'm a long way from that, but I am interested.
It can be kink related.
Right.
90% of the time, in my experience, it is not kink related whatsoever.
Okay.
And that's one thing a lot of people kind of stigmatize it as, like, oh yeah, them weird freaky sex folks. Half the folks that I've actually suspended are as milquetoast vanilla as you're going to meet, not just in their personal sex lives, but also just in their lives in general.
Right, so that's another interesting
a specific release for them. It's people. I get when people find out I've done suspension, I'm involved with it, they ask like, oh, why do you do it? And I'm like, it really depends on that moment in time. Sometimes it's for spirituality. Sometimes it's for straight up therapy. Sometimes it's for kink. Sometimes it's fucking dude bro endurance. It changes constantly. And just because you're doing it for one doesn't mean it doesn't change into the other.
Right.
Like there is no like one reason only I do it. Or anybody I've met thus far that does it. There is not a lock stock, this is the reason. It changes constantly and it can change while you are up there hanging. Right. So the kink thing is actually the least often happens in the suspension world from my experience.
Okay.
Because if you're doing it from a kink oriented side, there are way too many unknowns and there's a lot of prep involved with it. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of aftercare. There's a lot of like while they're hanging, there's a lot of bio PPE going on. It is a whole thing. And kink wise, honestly, most of the time, once you're up there, that kink has gone away. Majority of the time, the people that I hang and I've hung for myself, it turns into a therapy session. A lot of people think it's really intense, it's really hurtful, painful, it's really crazy. It can be, Different parts of the body on different people are more sensitive versus less sensitive, but generally our bread and butter is like a suspension from the higher back between the spine and the shoulder blade, is that meaty area in that area is usually a go-to for first timers. That the pain itself, in my opinion, is the piercing, the initial piercing of it. After that, everything else is awkward or just tender. Like when you work out really, really, really hard, and the next day you have that
hurt.
pain, good hurt. That's what you're getting once you hang. But when you're in the air, your body goes into this whole fucking hard shutdown reset. When it goes in the hard shutdown, first thing it's going to, most of the time, for most people, it's going to say is, oh, no, this is way intense for you psychologically and physically. We're shutting you down completely. You're going to faint now. And then that's it. If someone faints, we take them down.
Right.
But if you can fight that faint, if you can fight that wanting to close your eyes, and you fight the cold, hot sweats that you're getting, the vapors and all of that, and you fight it for a good 5 minutes, after that, it is pure euphoria. I personally don't feel the pressure anymore. I don't feel the pain. I don't feel anything from where my hook points are. I literally feel like I'm floating. Almost like you're in a salt bath. Like you do not feel pressure around you. And you feel energetic because now you got a lot of endorphins going on you. You feel giddy. You feel like a kid with a fucking chocolate cake and no adult telling you, no, don't eat it. And you just go nuts around it. So you can start swinging. You can start going crazy. You start trying to push your limits. And then sometimes you'll get into the bro dude like, well, no, we're going to go bigger. We're going to go harder. Let's get stupid. Start picking people up while you're hanging. Just get crazy and having fun. But still listening to a practitioner, so people are still looking after you.
Right.
Making sure that everything up there still looks good. Because if it doesn't, you're coming down.
Right.
Back in the day, like 20 years ago, we were all about ripping. Like, we wanted that endurance. We wanted to be stupid. We wanted to push it to its limits. For two reasons. One, just for the fucking trophy of it all. But also to see what the limits were. So in the future, we can know, okay, this is the how furthest we can push these type of limits.
Right.
With this gear, with this type of piercing.
You got to know your limits so you can push them. Yeah.
And with heavy body modification, it is always experimental. I mean, tattooed eyes. I would love to tattoo my eyes so much, but there's not enough data. I don't know what the long term is. Like the oldest, like longest tattooed eye person that I am aware of, they've had their eyes tattooed for 15 years. We still don't know what the long data is and how that actually affects.
Right.
And I'm not saying don't do it. Just if you're going to do it, go with that in mind. And I need my goddamn vision so badly.
Yeah.
I'm losing my can.
What do they have tattooed in their eye? Like just a little like...
No, just color. You can't really do designs.
Well, that's...
But the white of your eye, having those tattoos. So sometimes you'll see body modification artists or people that are into body modification. They'll have like the solid black eyes, or they'll have the blue eyes, and then you can see the inner eyes of their natural color. It's having the whites.
I've seen that before.
So the ink is tattooed in, but it doesn't stay in one spot.
Because there's no...
Yeah, it's just filling it with that ink that will constantly be slightly moving. I know. I love it, and I love the idea of it, and I would love to pursue that, but...
Not enough data.
Currently not enough data. And
I like that you have the nerd factor in this. I think that, like, if you're going to get into stuff like this, you need to have the nerd factor.
You know about my palm tattoos, right?
No.
So...
But wait, I have one question before we get to the palm tattoos. So do you have hooks in your back right now?
No.
Okay.
No, so body suspension is not done by permanent piercings.
Okay.
So the whole, like, the cell, that's a Hollywood thing.
Okay.
Says if you're hanging from something that's pierced into your body, it is going to rip. No matter what is going to rip. Micro rips, but it is going to rip. Scar tissue is going to build up over that. If you have a permanent piece of jewelry put in there, every time you do it, is going to rip a little bit, scar tissue is going to build up under it. Eventually, even if you're not hanging from anymore, it's going to reject that. Scar tissue is going to eventually just push that out.
Right.
So no, every time you hang, we pierce freshly, and it's only for that experience, and then it's removed.
I don't know which is worse. I'm glad your back doesn't look like a corset, because that's when my brain was just...
No, my back looks like hamburger.
Yeah. How many times have you been hung?
I
Do you
really
know?
could not tell you.
Wow.
I used to do it as a circuit sideshow like profession.
Holy
so
shit.
It's like maybe 300 times, and not all from my back, mind you. I got into one hooking, or single hook, so I just do one hook on one side, suspend from that the night, and then the next night do the other side, and then the next night knee, next night other knee, next night stomach. Okay, that's enough hill time. Let's go back to the back.
Oh, wow.
And when I got too, like, just swelly, could not do it anymore from those spots on tour, then I just do groundwork. We throw hooks in my cheeks, I pick up a cinder block, and then smash it on my chest. Shit like that. But I was really young and just all about it. And the older I've gotten, the more I actually enjoy doing it, but the more intense it's become. And I want to enjoy it for what it is, so I don't do it that often. It's like
when's the last time
years.
you were
the last time I hung was actually about 4 years ago.
Okay.
That
so you're due.
Was actually a learning session. I don't, in the States, I don't generally work with a lot of crews in the States because, to be frank, most Americans fucking have way too fucking high an ego of themselves and what they can do, and especially in the body modification world, and I don't like that fucking dude bro culture. So UK, Europe, Oslo, Norway, Spain, Ireland, even, like, it's way more chill. It's like, oh, I can do this. Let's work it together. It's not like my dick is bigger than yours type of situation. I fucking hate that. So I don't generally work with American suspension crews. I did for a hot minute when I moved to California, and lo and behold, it lasted. They'd been around for a while. I joined. They lasted like 5 months and then disbanded because they turned into a dick measuring contest. And I'm like, nope, I'm out. I said I will actually, I'll join, but it cannot be this or this.
Right.
And it turned into both of those, and I'm like, I'm out, and then they disbanded. But we had awesome tree out in a park that I'm not going to name, that people that wanted to experience it, we'd take them out there and they'd have experience, and it'd be a whole like weekend event. We'd camp out and everything.
Right.
But yeah, one of the sessions, some people that are looking to start like learning practicing, they're like, why don't we use the old mustad hooks, which are shark hooks? Why don't we really use those anymore? And so I busted out my old school ones. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're going to actually have a lesson on why we don't use these anymore. I'm going to do this. Just because I'm doing this does not mean you should.
Right.
And I'm going to show you why you should not do this anymore. So we pierced my chest with 2 large mustad hooks, and I pulled myself up, got myself up, and started bouncing. And I was allowed to do that for about 3 minutes, and then I was made to come down because the curvature of them and how they were started ripping, and you could actually see the physical rip. And like, this is why we update, we learn, we go to conventions, we have conversations. We want this to be enjoyable. We want this to be accessible, but we want you to be able to continue doing it without the least amount of physical trauma to the body. So
harm
this
reduction.
is why we don't actually do it this way anymore. I'm happy to do it because I like ripping. And that is a personal thing. But this is why we don't do it anymore, because most people, it's not they don't want to, they will not enjoy it.
Right.
So yeah, we did that.
That is intense.
Yeah. I also taught spear piercing classes during those
like spear,
weekends.
like
sticking spears through your cheeks and how to do it appropriately and safely. There's a lot of people think it's like, oh yeah, you just throw it in there. Absolutely not. You're gonna push and fill around, kind of push the vessels, the blood vessels out of the way, feel for tendons. If you nick a tendon, you're fucked.
Right.
Like, you want to be safe about it. So there's a whole procedure to go around doing it. And it looks like it's just easy peasy.
Right.
Shove a fucking spear through your cheek. But there's a lot more that goes into it. And so when I suspend, I always usually have an autoclave bag with spears, the points wrapped in gauze, tucked into a boot. So if I'm almost there where I need to be, but it's just not doing it for me, I can pull one of those out and pop some spears in my cheeks. And then I'm like, okay, I am there. I got to the level. I got to 11. I'm at 11 now. I'm good. So some people like to do that. And so I want them to know how to do that as safe as possible without fucking themselves up. So yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing that I think sometimes, like, you get so, you're when you're a normie, especially, like, your brain gets so, like, wrapped up in, like, the visual of it and the awe of it that, like, you can't even imagine what goes into behind it, where you're like, oh, no, this is all planned and thought out, and, like, we're super present in this moment. And I think that's the part, like, because so many people move through their world, like, numbing and avoiding and, like, just distracting. And when you're doing stuff like this, you have to be super fucking present, and you have to be aware of all the things that you're doing.
For me, and how I like to run it, one person suspending, there are going to be 5 other people involved with that one person suspending. Yeah. There is going to be the person piercing, possibly 2 people piercing tandem quickly. There is going to be a bio person. That's going to, if you drip, making sure everything gets sterilized while it lands on the floor. Or we have, if it's inside, usually we're going to have like a safety plastic laid down. But they're also, besides wiping you down, keeping an eye out where you were pierced, making sure there's no rippage, nothing bad's happening, keeping an eye on it. Then you have your rigging folks. You're usually going to have 2 people on the rigging folks. One is actually going to handle the rope, lifting you up, lowering you down, but another person that is going to be there as a backup. So there are several people involved with just one person spinning, and that is the bread and butter just from the back.
Right.
Depending on suspension, way more people are going to get involved. There is a lot of technical engineering and trigonometry that goes into it. Like, you wouldn't think it because, a tattooed fuck up look likes. Yeah, we need to know what the actual breakaway load is if you're hanging from this height and let's say you're hanging from 2 hooks and one of those hooks bends out, straightens out, whatever. We need to know what the break load, the shock load is for the cabling on the other hook. What can it handle? All right, swing differential. We need to know what we can do, the amount of force if you drop to prevent you from landing on the ground and breaking your fucking neck.
Right.
Especially if you're upside down. My rule, no matter what, I don't care if you find it uncomfortable. If you're going to be doing anything that causes you to be upside down, head facing the ground, you're wearing a climbing harness and we're going to have a secondary safety line attached to that. No matter what. Doesn't matter how good the fucking gear is. Doesn't matter how trained we are. Shit still happens. Manufacturing errors. No. There's a lot of thought that actually goes into it, and a lot of people don't consider that.
Yeah. I don't know if I've considered it. I mean, I imagine, just because I know people like you that are super smart and that do these things, that there is. But when you step back and look at it and you take away just like the shock value of it, it is. And it is, that's what I mean. Like it's like a meditation practice. It is one of those things that you're like, this is what I'm going to focus on for the next whatever many hours. Like this is all my
It's kind of like
process.
Shibari, if you're familiar with Shibari. There are a lot of people that get into it, but then don't actually get into more of the technical aspects of it, and then start practicing it without knowing the technical aspects and end up hurting people.
Right.
And Shibari, people think, oh, no, it's just tying people up from rope and then hanging them. Yeah, you can cause
a lot of damage.
A lot of fucking damage and death. There have been several that have been reported just in the U.S. and over the past 3 years.
Right.
That was accidents, but because of bad practitioning. You have to be safe about it. You have to be knowledgeable. Again, US is, in my opinion, the worst about it. You have to check your ego at the door. There may be someone that is, even though they may have less experience than you, but has come up with a technique that's way safer than what you're used to. And you need to be willing to hear that out. Like, when I first started in suspension, we were doing fucking just quick clips and fucking chain. Like, swing set chain. And that's how it was. And it was a lot of trial and error going into it. Now, no, we're using proper climbing gear. We're actually doing proper, like, a knot work on it. Like, it is changed completely. And half the reason I decided to get out of working with U.S. groups is a lot of the U.S. groups I worked with in the past did not want to change. Well, we've been doing it this way, and we're only going to be doing this way because this is the real way. I'm like, no, it's not. No, come on. Yeah, it looks cooler. There's chain involved. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Oh, yeah, quickly. So you can buy it from Home Depot for like 50 cents a pop. There's a reason why it's 50 cents a pop instead of buying a $40 carabiner per situation. I know economically it's actually very, very, very expensive to suspend someone. And I'd much rather invest that money into someone's safety than, oh, we look cool on stage.
Yeah. Wait, so now tell me about your palm tattoos.
Oh, yeah, my palm tattoo.
Sideshow, suspension, music, all that shit. Right palm says,
TA.
what does that say?
Ta.
Left palm,
Ta.
ta-da. So yeah, I am a performer, but I am also a nerd because when I do my research, I am reading a book. Hold the book with the same palms. It says data.
Oh my god. I love it.
Yep, that's kind of how I look at like performance versus research for performance. So yes, performance is hardcore, it's goofy, it's silly, it's but there's a lot of data, there's a lot of intense research that goes involved into a show. Once you start getting the role of it and feel comfortable, then you're not having to research as much, but you still need to stay on your game, update. But yeah, it becomes a little bit more second nature. But always data before performance.
I love that. And I think that's a perfect place for us to wrap up for today. Because I could talk to you all fucking day.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
we
we're
do talk
definitely-
to each other
I
all
know.
day.
And we're going to have to definitely do a whole series about a whole bunch of different shit. Because you are just too interesting and too fascinating not to have back.
Yeah, we haven't even gone into like Gage when he un-Americaned himself for a
Wait,
while.
give me a little. I
I'll
know.
give you a wee
Give
shot.
me a little wee shot of the whiskey as we end this. Because, yeah, we went on so many tangents tonight, and it's going to be so valuable to people to think about opening up their brain and to being open to not labeling yourself as one thing.
Not everybody that's heavily body modded is a drug addict, satanic loser. But most of them are drug addict, satanic assholes that are actually not
Right.
assholes at all. That's a bad way to put it.
No, I mean, it's great. Like, not everyone is who you think they are.
Yeah.
Everyone's an asshole, and it's just about the amount of asshole you are.
It's just all about if you actually wash or not.
As long as you don't stink. I think that's don't be an asshole and don't smell.
Yep.
Like, those are my two things.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Most of a lot of people get just by as you put my aesthetics. People can look at me and kind of feel intimidated until they start looking at my aesthetics a little bit more in detail. I wear a leather vest that has my name on it, has a lot of my favorite band patches on it, and then it has a lot of ceramic pins all over it. But when you start actually looking at those pins, then you're like, oh, what the fuck? This guy's a fucking nerd. What the fuck? Oh, no, he's not hard. Wait, that nothing on there says motorcycle club, which I do ride a motorcycle. I'm independent, though. I've never been involved in a club. I'm not hardcore or anything like that. I am a big baby, and I actually cry when I stump my toe. am a big, big, big baby. Yeah. So if you ever meet me, I'm not scary. I mean, look it, but I promise I'm not. I'm pretty chill.
Mm. You are the guy I would go to if I was in trouble.
Oh,
If I'm
absolutely.
out in the
Oh, I
park
got
and I
your
did not
back.
know you. No, but even if I did not know you, you were the man that I'm going to. Like any
No.
person, and I've come to learn that over my experience, is the guys that look the scariest are usually the safest dudes. Because they're the most sure of themselves. They've made those decisions
Yep.
with like thoughtfulness and intention and purpose, and it all has meaning. And so those are the dudes that I will always look to.
And generally, we're going to try to de-escalate before we actually add violence
Right.
to it, because the violence is always the last fucking. No,
Right.
I fucking hate fighting. I hate hurting people unless they're asking me to and they pay me for it.
And then you'll suspend the shit out of
Oh
them.
yeah. But while holding their hands and making sure they're comfortable.
Right.
Putting on some Enya or some Sade for them if they want to hear that. Like, yeah, we'll get the mood. But yeah, no, when it comes to actual altercations, I generally really have gotten good at de-escalating, but that's years of experience partying in a wall. It's like,
Yeah. I know we haven't gotten to that part yet. There's so much. You definitely have some
I've
better.
been stabbed and I've been shot, so I have learned from those experiences. And sometimes there's no learning. You didn't do anything wrong. Person's just fucking crazy.
Sometimes life just happens.
Life always happens.
Well, cheers,
Anywho.
Gage.
Cheers, my dears.
Thank you all
for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thanks you for sharing. And I hope you all enjoyed listening to this. Gage will definitely be back, so look for that. And then go find some joy to.
Yes. And if you can make money off the joy, make money off the joy.
That's an even better thing. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Woohoo!